Well, back to the Buick anyway. This piece won't quite stretch. Need an extra inch or so. So I'm gonna have to cut it in the middle and stretch it out about an inch, so it'll reach both sides. And as you can see, there's an awful lot of rust here that was under the chrome, and I was gonna have to sand that all down by hand with a little tiny grinding wheel, but when I cut it in half, it'll be short enough so I can stick it in the sandblaster, and I can sandblast all this rust away in a lot quicker time. Let me put my camera down here on my flimsy little tripod. Yeah, I don't know, right about there. And then I will proceed to cut this thing in half. Still a little bit on this side I couldn't quite get at. Didn't go deep enough. Somehow I missed the mark here. The cord's too short. Keeps getting tangled in the bumper. Well, looks like this is it right here. There it is, 2 pieces. Now I can sandblast this thing, get rid of all that rust, and sandblast this piece, get rid of that rust. So I'm off to the sandblaster. So this is my sandblaster. Got it at an auction special deal because somebody had chopped it up and added an extra room on the side. And I think they made it deeper too. Yeah, so you can see in there. Let me turn on the... Oh. There's supposed to be a light in there. I don't know why it's not on. But there's plenty of room in there for this piece. So I gotta stick that in there and get blasting. Oh, there's the lights are supposed to shine through this plastic cover here, and they don't seem to be working. I can flip the switch back and forth over there, but it just doesn't happen. I got 2 other bulbs. I tried those and nothing happens. So I'm thinking that maybe, yeah, there's a bad connection there, but I'm thinking the ballast might be bad. But I gotta dig out an electrical tester and check out this entire electrical system here to find out where the problem is. See, the ballast is back here, and I hope I don't need to buy 2 more of these U-shaped bulbs because they're kind of expensive. But if I have to, I guess. I can't see anything in there without the lights, so I can't sandblast without lights. Well, I don't know. I don't have time to trace the circuits, and I don't think I have a ballast anyway to replace that one, if that's what the problem is. So what I did, I went and I bought this LED shop light, just stuck it over the plastic cover, and let's see if that, oh look, you can see inside now. You can see even better if the glass wasn't all fuzzy from the sand. But I guess now I can start sandblasting, huh? Yep, it's working. So it's coming along pretty good. It's like 5 minutes of sandblasting. And it looks like I've got to get in here a little bit more. Get rid of some of this deep pits, and then I can just treat it with some rust inhibitor and some maybe spot filler. And so move this over so I can get some of this and get back to it. And get back to it. Yeah, so every once in a while it stops blowing sand because it's all up in here. I have to put it back in the hopper. This hoe came with the sandblaster, so. I'm making too much noise. Alright, I'm going to have to turn this thing around so I can get at this end of it easier. But it doesn't look too bad. I can go over it with a sander and smooth it out some more. And yeah, so I guess it's just about done. I guess I'm going to call it good enough and get it out of there. This stuff is just glue that's on there from where they had the rubber weather stripping. The reason I'm having trouble getting enough sand is because there isn't much in there. So I am going to go buy some bags of Black Beauty sand and take a ride in an air-conditioned car because I'm sweating in here. My t-shirt is soaked through and all the black dust is sticking to it. And so I'm going to call it good for now. Take this piece outside in the bright sunlight to see what it looks like. Yeah, so there's the before and after. And I don't know if I did a good enough job there. I did the best I could. This is what it started out looking like, so I got to do this one next. I didn't plan on taking all the paint off. I was just going to do the rust, but I got carried away. And it turns out the where they painted the rust was the hardest part to sandblast. Because I don't know why the red paint didn't want to come out of the rust. But after I get some more sand, I'm going to put this piece in and, oh, what's this? Must have rained. And we'll put this piece in and sandblast this one next. And hopefully we'll be able to put it on the old Buick and weld it together. Poor old Buick, sure looks like hell. All cut up and crappy looking. Well, the other side is sort of done. I tried taking off the red paint before I put it in the sandblaster, but it was really tough. I think it's rubbery, probably latex or something. So I'm going to have to go over that with a grinder and clean it up. I've got to treat this area here with rust inhibitor, and looks like I've got some holes to fill. But before I do that, I got to try to hook it back together. Put a little strip in there and clamp it on both sides. I don't know if I need much more than that. And I also got to fill in this gap. But it's not a project for another day. So it's finally cooled off this evening. That's why I managed to get back into the sandblaster. Plus I bought another bag of Black Beauty volcanic ash, and that's my results, such as it is. So I know I'd love to get all of that out, but it just didn't want to do it, so I gotta treat it with something else. And yeah, so I barely just get in out of the rain. I still got water on the back of my camera, and all of a sudden blue skies and sunshine, and so I set this thing up on the sawhorses because I don't want to spray on the table. It's already enough of a mess. So let me see if I can put this here. And yeah, I guess you can see it all right. Oh, by the way, this is primer. Oh, that thing turned. Here we go. Automotive primer. Rust-Oleum is good stuff. I try to avoid Krylon or any of those cheap name brands. If I'm going to use spray cans, I either go with Napa or Rust-Oleum from Walmart. Rust-Oleum's cheaper than Napa. And it seems to be almost dry. I can give it a second coat. There. It's done. Alright, well, I got all the pieces hooked back together, well, except for this right here. And what I had to do, this is in the bottom in case you can't figure that out, had to have 63 inches between these 2 points, and there it is. So now I got to put it in the car. Well, there it is. It's in place, or close to it. I got to do some welding. I've got to weld these doors shut, get them even before I weld anything on here. And everything looks good and straight. And I just wish there wasn't so big a gap, because I thought I was only like a 3/4 of an inch off, and now I've got, what is it, 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So it's gonna mean the chrome isn't gonna fit together, but I'll worry about that when we get to it. Okay, so I'm gonna weld right across here, across there, and the other side. And I don't know, maybe I should have joined it to the side here, give it a little more strength. I might put a piece in here and on that side, but I'm not gonna record all this welding because it's just gonna be just stretch the video out longer than it needs to be. I'll show you when it's done. Okay, so the number 5 tip worked out pretty good. I had to put a glove on because my hand was getting a little too close. Also, my cell phone was in my left pocket. I had to move it over to my right pocket because my cell phone was getting hot and I wasn't sure if that was good for it. But now I got to do this side. Okay, so this side is done, and now this side is done. And I burned a few holes even with the number 5 tip, but I could fill them in before it got bigger. And the clamps got kind of hot when I took them off, so I just tossed them. I'll have to put them away when they cool off. Okay, so before we put that other piece on, I want to weld these doors in place. Got to line them up pretty good here. And I got this piece that I'm going to weld on. And there. And that should hold it in for temporarily. Eventually we got to fill this in, and we got to fill this in. But for now, I just want to get these so they don't move. So I gotta weld that piece on there. Okay, so there it is, all welded into place, and that door's not moving. And it seems like it's pretty close here. So I got to do the same thing over on the other side. But I'm going to wait for this to cool so I don't have to drag the wires and the hoses across the hot part. And I got to go in and have some lunch, and I'll be back. Right now this side is hooked in there. And I don't know what we're going to do about this seam. I was thinking we could just take the grinder and clean all that crap out and then weld it shut without taking it off. And even though it doesn't line up, ouch, that's warm perfectly, we can probably make up for it. And I think this looks pretty close here. I can't do it this way because it's been mushroomed. I don't know. Well, I'll use a little bit more filler there, that's all. I'm sure everything will fit together fine when it's done. Maybe I should use the torches to get this paint off. Well, there, it's back. It was a lot lighter putting it back on without all those C-clamps on there. We still got to do a little trimming here on both sides to get this back a little. It's okay here at the bottom, but at the top there's like 1/4 inch. So I got to cut that. And then crash. I'm going to MIG weld that because Richard's going to do that because he's better at MIG welding than I am. So I'm going to let him do the MIG welding on that. As you can see, this side needs to be trimmed back a little bit too, because it's that much that doesn't line up. So it's got to line up. So we'll get back on this tomorrow or the next day, or Saturday at the latest.